Thank you for watching QTV News. With the news, my name is Diana Sumbe. We take a look at stories making headlines. State House has justified why President Edgar Lungu has not given a position on the recently reported systematic torture of civilians by authorities in Zimbabwe. And Zambia's annual rate of inflation has remained static at 7.9% in the month of January 2019. And now the news in detail. State House says President Edgar Lungu still remains ready to take part in the national dialogue once the process has been agreed upon by the mediators. Spokesperson Amos Chanda says President Lungu wants a harmonious working relationship between the church and the Zambia Center for Inter-Party Dialogue, ZCID. Mr. Chanda states that the church and the ZCID therefore ought to have a harmonious position in order to mediate the dialogue process properly. He has told QTV News by telephone that President Lungu cannot, however, involve himself in the standoff that is there between the two mediators. And Mr. Chanda has justified why President Lungu has not given a position on the recently reported alleged systematic torture of civilians by authorities in Zimbabwe. The State House spokesperson states that as chairperson of the SADC organ on politics, defense and security cooperation, President Lungu operates within the regional body's rules. He says given that SADC, through established organs, has engaged Zimbabwean authorities, it will be undiplomatic to comment on the alleged torture of that country's civilians. Mr. Chanda notes that in addition to this, Zimbabwean President Emmerson Mnangagwa has already instituted criminal investigations into the alleged torture of civilians. He says this is more the reason it is inappropriate for President Lungu to give a position on a domestic matter that is receiving appropriate domestic attention.
As SADC chair, he oversees all processes that touch on peace and security, stability of every region. As chair of the SADC, he operates within the confines of the SADC rules. So if that matter became a matter of concern to SADC requiring a SADC position, that position will be given. When that determination is made, at the moment, SADC through established organs are obviously engaged with Zimbabwean authorities, but it would be undiplomatic to act on matters that are under criminal investigation. President Mnangagwa announced a criminal investigation. They announced an inquiry, and therefore it would be inappropriate to make comment on.
General Education Permanent Secretary Jobits Kalumba has clarified that grade 9 pupils who fail to progress to grade 10 do not need to repeat to 6th grade. Dr. Kalumba says grade 9 pupils who fail to get a full certificate during the first exam sittings still have a chance to make amends when they sit as externals, pass and have the results combined. Speaking at a media briefing held in Lusaka, Dr. Kalumba has explained that grade 9 externals may repeat or simply rewrite the exams without learning from school. Dr. Kalumba states that candidates who manage to pass can then enter grade 10 as mainstream learners and compete favorably with their counterparts who progressed at the first exam sitting. He says the grade 9 external route is therefore basically a second chance opportunity for learners who re-enter the mainstream schooling at grade 10 and then progress to grade 12. Dr. Kalumba says Dr. Kalumba's explanation follows the misinterpretation that learners who fail to obtain grade 9 certificate must repeat to grade 6 in order to be assigned with a new exam number at grade 7.
So they will be part of the mainstream. They are coming from the external background, but they will be part of the mainstream once they qualify. Consequently, the grade 9 external route is basically a second chance opportunity for learners to re-enter the mainstream schooling at grade 10 and then proceed through to grade 12 with equal opportunities of obtaining the best results in line with their individual inputs.
And Dr. Kalumba has announced the extension of the registration of grade 8 and 10 pupils for a period of 2 weeks. Dr. Kalumba says the extension is with effect from Thursday, 31st January 2019.
Examination Council of Zambia and the Ministry of General Education in general has extended the registration of candidates at all levels for 2 weeks. The registration of candidates will end on the 15th of February 2019, and that is Friday. I want to appeal to our provincial education officers.
Zambia's annual rate of inflation has remained static at 7.9% in the month of January 2019. Central Statistical Office Acting Director of Census and Statistics Daniel Daka says the price of goods and services in January increased by 7.9% on average. Mr. Daka, however, states that the year-on-year food inflation rate for this month was recorded at 8.2%, representing a 0.1 percentage point increase from 8.2% recorded in December 2018. Speaking during the CSO monthly release media briefing in Lusaka, Mr. Daka says the increase is mainly due to price changes of bottled carbonated soft drinks. He says that the year-on-year non-food inflation rate for January 2019 was recorded at 7.7% compared to 7.6% recorded in December 2018. Mr. Daka says the increase of 0.1% is mainly attributed to price changes of items in the Transport and Education Consumer Price Index CPI main groups. And Mr. Daka says Zambia's trade deficit decreased by 83.5% from over 1.7 million kwacha recorded in November 2018 to 285.6 million kwacha in December 2018. He states that this trade deficit entails that the country imported more at a reduced rate than it exported in nominal terms.
As of December 2018, Zambia still registered a trade deficit of 285.6 million kwacha. However, this deficit was lower than that registered in November by 3.5%. So our trade balance improved tremendously by December 2018. You can see from the graph that in November 2018, the trade deficit was.
Trade Kings Foundation has donated the first urology equipment in Zambia worth 50,000 United States dollars to the University Teaching Hospital UTH Urology Department. The lithoclast master medical equipment is a world standard implement that allows removal of kidney stones with minimum invasive surgery, which saves the patient from open surgery as well as post-operation trauma, pain, and long recovery period. Speaking when he received the specialist medical equipment on behalf of UTH, Health Minister Chitalo Chirufya says the donated equipment will help in transforming the healthcare service delivery at the University Teaching Hospital, as it will be used to conduct complicated surgeries. Dr. Chirufya says that the lithoclast equipment will have an impact on the outcomes of the surgery operations that will be conducted, as well as save the hospital colossal expenses.
We want again to express profuse gratitude to the Trade Kings Foundation for this philanthropic work that you're doing. Your role in the health sector is on the wall for all of us to see. We want to appreciate the corporate social responsibility that is biased towards health. Indeed, you've made the right decision. A healthy people will be a healthier workforce, and they will drive our economic development programs. They will be the people that will drive the agenda at Trade Kings. There will be less man-hours lost due to absenteeism if we invest in health. Your balance.
And presenting the donation, Trade Kings Group General Manager Lax Subramaniam says that the donation is a clear demonstration of the group's commitment to giving back to the community and a way of showing its gratitude.
The $50,000 equipment that we are handing over to the University Teaching Hospital today will be used for removal of kidney stones with minimal invasive surgery. This saves the patient from open surgery, which is normally packaged with post-operation trauma and indeed a longer recovery period. Honorable Minister, for your kind information, this machine will reduce the procedure time from an average of 3 hours of open surgery to under 20 minutes. This equipment will usher in a new era in the improvement of the overall capacity in the urology department, which will include, but not limited to, quality healthcare, patient turnaround.
The Economic Equity Party EEP says that Zambia's ranking on the 2018 Transparency International Corruption Perceptions Index (CPI) justifies need for lifestyle audits in the country. EEP President Chilfred Tayali says lifestyle audits are the only way his party has now determined can help in prosecuting people whose corrupt activities have proved hard to expose. Mr. Tayali says the EEP thus supports calls by the Transparency International Zambia TIZ that these audits begin with President Edgar Lungu himself. He has told QTV News that his party believes that Zambia's ranking number 105 out of 180 countries, as gouged by the 2018 CPI, requires President Lungu to do more than just talking. Mr. Tayali states that his party expects the Republican president to act immediately by firing all those that are corrupt in his government. He says this is especially that as head of state, he has intelligence information about all those that are engaging in corrupt activities.
People see, people can tell that a person who was a nobody, the moment he becomes a minister, the moment he becomes a permanent secretary, all of a sudden he starts flourishing with wealth. I mean, those are the things that are coming out. So in as much as our courts may be lukewarm or may be slow to judge some of these people, or some of these people may be clever in the way that they are stealing, their lives can show. And this is where the index is coming from. So we would like to call upon President Edgar Lungu that he needs to act now.
And Mr. Tayali has commended Bahati Member of Parliament Harry Kalaba for being bold to accept his expulsion from the ruling Patriotic Front. He says the move taken by Mr. Kalaba, who has also indicated intentions of not wanting to recontest his parliamentary seat, should serve as an example to other politicians in similar situations.
He didn't have to wait for the Patriotic Front to expel him. I think that wasn't very good. But nonetheless, with this decision that he has taken, I think we should commend him, because he would have done what Dr. Kambwiri did. Dr. Kambwiri went to court and they are still in court. But him, he has, taken that bold decision to say he's not even going to contest Bahati, and he's going to Constitution 2021. That is very, very good. We also hope that maybe Dr. Kambwiri can also take a leaf from what
Minister of Commerce and Trade Christopher Yaluma says the country's 2019 outlook is bright, with the economy expected to grow by 4.6% by the end of the year. Mr. Yaluma is optimistic that 2019 will see the economy performing better, as his ministry looks forward to securing markets under the Tripartite Free Trade Area, TFTA. He says his ministry has already secured market access for Zambian products through the COMESA and SADC free trade areas, which provides a market of over 130.6 million people. Mr. Yaruma said this when he officiated at the Economic Outlook event hosted by the American Chamber of Commerce and Industry in Zambia.
During the same period, non-traditional exports amounted to 21.4 billion kwacha. In 2018 or 2017, it was 16.17 billion, so to speak. The major market export share destination by regional groupings were Asia, SADC accounting for about 27.7% and 19.4% for Zambia exports, respectively. I would like those and gentlemen to believe that the American Chamber of Commerce has contributed to the growth in any institute provision.
And American Chamber of Commerce President of Board of Directors Ferdinand Zaumu gave a general overview of the country's 2019 economic outlook from the Chamber's perspective.
When we look at the environment in our region, we see quite a number of changes that have happened in the DRC, for example, with the election that just happened. We did see some changes in Zimbabwe last year as well, and we know South Africa is going to be going through a number of changes as well, which come again to add on what we saw in Angola recently. I guess as we come into Zambia and we look at our own macroeconomic challenges that we have been having for a while, the question therefore is, before I even get to the question, I think we've seen some improvement.
Ministry of Health Permanent Secretary Dr. Kennedy Malama says the effectiveness of mothers' shelters depends on the ability of health systems to recognize and refer women at risk to the shelters. In a speech read on his behalf by the Director of Performance Improvement, Dr. Jelita Chinyonga, at the dissemination of research findings of the Mothers Shelter Alliance workshop, Dr. Malama said this identification and referral is dependent on a functional system that includes community health services. And Dr. Malama says government, through the Ministry of Health, endeavors to achieve universal health care using the primary health care approach. He says this is why his ministry introduced a unit under the Department of Public Health that is dedicated to community health with a clear reporting structure right up to community level.
On the demand side, increasing facility delivery in Zambia is an important factor in reducing the risk of developing life-threatening complications during and after birth. Many Zambian women and their families live in remote communities where long distances, geography, and medical transportation services are persistent, barriers to access health facilities, and skilled attendance at birth. According to the 2013-2014 DHS, only 56% of women in rural areas.
Speaking at the same workshop, World Health Organization country representative Nathan Pachaita looked forward to working with government to improve health services in the country.
As we all know, maternal mortality ratio is a major concern for all of us in Zambia. At 398, I think it is per 100,000, we need to change that figure. But we're also aware that our neonatal mortality rate has stagnated over the years, something that we need to address. So when we come up, therefore, with interventions that are aimed at addressing some of the root causes of this data or of these things, such as addressing distance from the healthcare facility, addressing access to skilled staff,
The Minister of National Development Planning, Alexander Chiteme, has asked the Climate Investment Fund, CIF, to assist Zambia expand investment in renewable energy. Speaking when he held a meeting with the head of CIF's Mafalda Duarte on the sidelines of the CIF 10th anniversary meeting taking place at the Moroccan Agency for Sustainable Agency Massens Noah Complex Solar Power Plant, Mr. Chiteme says renewable energy is very important to Zambia's development. Mr. Chiteme says through the Forest Investment Program FIP, Zambia has developed an investment plan to reduce deforestation and forest degradation, adding that the program, however, needs more financial support towards actualizing the investment plan. Earlier during the meeting between Ms. Duarte and some African ministers, Mr. Chiteme said Zambia is developing a national scaling up renewable energy program SREP investment plan. Mr. Chiteme says it is important for Zambia to actualize the objectives of the 7th National Development Plan and the Vision 2030 to ensure access to clean and reliable energy for all. And Ms. Duarte has assured the National Development Planning Minister that CIFS will continue to support Zambia's development agenda, especially addressing the impact of climate change. Ms. Duarte says her organization would like to know where Zambia sees the multilateral development banks, MDBs, such as the World Bank and African Development Bank, can focus support to the country. She has emphasized that it is important to engage and ensure that her organization provides support that is relevant to Zambia. The opposition UPND says it will not be surprised if Zambia soon starts to import maize from other countries. UPND chairperson for rural development Mono Mapani says his party does not see Zambia recording a meaningful harvest from their 2018-2019 farming season, given the rainfall pattern the country is experiencing. Mr. Mapani has told QTV News that government should have also listened to advice on the El Nino. He states that had government listened to the advice and warning of El Nino, it would have ensured that farming inputs are delivered on time and ensure that the country has sufficient maize in the reserves.
And everywhere in a very normal system, where there's a normal system, you have to ensure that you have enough food for 2 years. Because we don't control the land pattern. Now that we don't control, and arising from that fact, 2 years of enough food for citizens cannot be a bad idea. We have a lot of storages. We would have bought maize and only offload when you know that you are certain that you have enough for again another 2 years. Because the prevailing situation, there is nothing to point at. We had the Minister of Agriculture laboring on something that had no substance, because we are on the ground and we know what is obtaining. It's not the information that we are told, it's the
Zambia National Union of Teachers ZANUT says the fact that Zambia has been exporting teachers to other countries is an indication that the country's education sector is gaining recognition in the Southern African region. Madagascar has requested for about 500 qualified teachers for employment in that country. ZANUT General Secretary Numan Wubala says the request by the government of Madagascar is a welcome development, as it will leave space for employment of many qualified teachers that remain unemployed after graduating from various training programs. Mr. Wubala says ZANUT would like to see many more other countries coming to source for more teachers from Zambia, saying Zambia has exhibited that it has a credible education system. Meanwhile, Mr. Wubala says ZANUT will wage war against the issue of examination leakage that has recently characterized examinations. He says the union intends to reach out to all schools in the country, especially rural-based, and ensure that future examinations are not marred by malpractice.
Those teachers go, they become expatriates, and they leave space for others to be recruited, because we already have got a lot of teachers who have graduated who wait to be recruited into the main line of teaching in the Ministry of Education. So once those others go, they are expatriates. It's good for us. It also shows that we have a education system. Remember one thing, years down the line, we have provided teachers in Southern Africa.
The Zambia Medicine Regulatory Authority, ZAMRA, has opened an office in Chipata Eastern Province to facilitate for importation of medicine and help curb selling of harmful and unauthorized drugs. Speaking during the launch, Ministry of Health Permanent Secretary Kennedy Malama said the opening of new offices in Chipata will also ensure compliance to expected standards in licensed facilities. Dr. Malama said the move by ZAMRA to open regional offices speaks well to government overall target of attaining universal health care UHC systems, strengthening of which supply chain is key. He has emphasized that in order to achieve this, government will continue providing equity of access to good, safe and efficacious medicines as close to every Zambian family as possible. Dr. Malama, who later inspected Chipata District Hospital and some pharmacists, expressed happiness concerning the levels of compliance. Speaking earlier, ZAMRA Director General Bernice Mwale reaffirmed the authority's commitment to ensuring that all medicines and allied substances being made available in Zambia are safe and effective. And Chipata Mayor Signora Mwale is hopeful that with an office in Chipata, the general public will be able to access ZAMRA's services quickly. The American government has handed over a lecture theatre to the University of Zambia Unza School of Medicine, built at a total cost of $1 million United States dollars. The state-of-the-art lecture theatre has been built through the U.S. Center for Disease Control, CDC, the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, PEPFAR, and the Department of Defense. Speaking when he received the lecture theatre, Ministry of Higher Education Permanent Secretary Mavuto Sakala appealed to the American government to help Zambia in strengthening universal health coverage systems with a focus on training. Mr. Sakala says Zambia is in a hurry to ensure strengthened health systems and that it will continue to look to the American government for assistance in that area.
Whilst universities continue to conduct research and community service, training programs must have the necessary content and quality. Again, I'm happy to hear that another U.S. government-supported program, the Medical Education Partnership Initiative, helped to transform medical training in the whole country, literally, through the 14 new Master of Science program in basic sciences developed to train faculty for all medical schools in the country. Let me take this opportunity to congratulate Professor Muller for his leadership and to say.
Speaking at the same event, American Ambassador to Zambia Daniel Foote said the American Embassy expressed hope that the constructed lecture theatre will be utilized properly by the beneficiaries.
Building the capacity of academic and government institutions enables the proper training and staff retention for better analysis, interpretation, and data utilization. The U.S. government investment in this lecture hall will enhance the visibility of the University of Zambia's School of Public Health and contribute to training programs that help to strengthen and guide public health programs here in Zambia. Beyond the construction of this state-of-the-art lecture theater, the embassy, through CDC,
and UNZA Vice Chancellor Enala Mwase has appealed to government to allocate some funds towards the completion of a library at the lecture theatre.
The basement of this structure, which was meant to house the School of Public Health Library and Learning Aids, was not completed due to fiscal restructuring of the U.S. government developmental budget. The university would be grateful if you directly help to source the urgently needed 950,000 Zambian kwacha, of which 50% is to secure a very expensive equipment that will be installed in the lecture theatre. In addition, other partners have been motivated by the U.S. government support and have indicated that for the next phase of the School of Public Health project, for building of a 4-story structure, which will cost around US $3 million, they would participate in a matching manner, meaning whatever we put, they will match it in equal proportion.
To end the news, we take a look at stories making headlines. State House has justified why President Edgar Lungu has not given a position on the recently reported systematic torture of civilians by authorities in Zimbabwe. And Zambia's annual rate of inflation has remained static at 7.9% in the month of January 2019. On that note, we come to the end of the news. Thank you for watching.